somebody really enjoyed the latest break with coffee, and it's too complicated to fill all the steps to the fourth floor, right? That's why let's wait, I think, 2 to 5 minutes, okay? You can fully enjoy your devices, yeah, because I won't tell anything else before we actually start. Do we have video recording? Okay, because I really want to like it then. Two more minutes. Yeah. Or if anybody hasn't slept enough as me, we can just sleep this session, and it would be also quite efficient, I think. Okay, so probably let's get started. I think the rest, if join, they won't lose a lot. Hopefully somebody will enjoy us today. My name is Artem, and I'm sales lead at Any4Soft. Before we actually start, I want to share with you one great news. No, we won't host DrupalCon next year in Ukraine, but we have 2 more sessions before we actually finished our official part of Drupal Camp Kiev. But before we continue, I wanted to ask you, how do you enjoy this Drupal Camp 10th anniversary? How you really enjoyed it? Has it worked with your expectations? How do you like it? Can somebody reply? How do you like this Drupal Camp?
Awesome.
It was awesome for you because you're organizer, right?
Yeah, actually, but I was also attending the previous ones, so beside the fact that I'm on team, I think it's really nice, and I'm as a help team for this room. There wasn't any really session that was like not interesting or something. So I think it's good.
Okay. One more point at the very beginning, guys. It's actually my first experience performing like the professional speaker, let's say. Before that, I used to be a scene sorter. I played in Kievan, so I'm not afraid the audience. But the only one thing, when I always attend some professional sessions, it's so boring when the audience, they just listen to the performer without any interaction. So if you have any questions during my session, any instance questions, please do not hesitate to ask me. I'll pause, reply, and then move on. Let's make this presentation as efficient as possible. One more organization point. Maybe somebody of you are curious why I am performing in English, because most likely understand that I'm Ukrainian, right? No, at least I know Ukrainian and Russian, okay? So the main goal, as was said by organizers at the very beginning, is to bring as many foreigners, as many colleagues from Drupal organization, from Drupal community outside of Ukraine, not only like post-Soviet Union countries. I mean, those colleagues with who we can talk only in English. And the only way we can actually do this is to perform our session in English, right? Because when they come and they listen to Russian performance or Ukrainian, it's no value for them at all. That's why I decided why not to get started. Okay, I think that I won't use complicated words. First of all, because I don't know a lot of them. Second of all, I want to make this presentation as simple as possible. So let's get started. At the very beginning, a couple of words about me. My name is Artem, and I'm sales lead at Any4Soft. We are a Drupal development agency founded in 2011, and we work with Drupal since day on. And me personally, I work in this company for more than 2 years, and I'm in charge of sales. That's why my presentation is going to be separated for 2 main parts. First of all, it will be obviously about sales, and second of all, regarding client orientation, because it's inevitable to bring new clients to talk anything regarding the clientele without the sales, right? Because it's the first step, sales, and then we have the client. And one more thing, I also wanted to add that before we actually start, I also wanted to check the audience, who we have today, because I want to bring as topical, as relevant information to you as I can. That's why it doesn't work. Interesting. Let me reconnect it. Maybe because I talked a lot before we actually started. So my question, do we have here developers? One developer, two developers. Not bad, but not for the Drupal camp, I would say. But it's obvious because this session is management matters, not the development. That's why I expected that. Do we have here project managers, account managers? Okay, the majority. How about HR, recruitment? Do we have those? And sales representatives? Who are the rest? Who are you? QA, testers. Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. Still it doesn't work. Let me just use like old school approach. Or what? Let's move on. You know what? My main idea is to deliver to you that no matter where you are at the business processes, you do sales. Obviously, I'm as a sales guy, I want to tell that sales is like the most valuable process in the company. And sales processes, it's like inevitable engine of the company's performance and company's growth. But you might think, if I'm QA, if I'm recruiter, if I'm project manager, how it's related, how it's topical for me, those sales topics. For instance, let's consider even QA, that at the very first stage you might think it's completely different with sales. QA engineer, he's the last person, maybe together with project manager, who check the ultimate result of all the team before you show these activities to the client. That's why even QA engineers, they are in the sales process. If to talk about recruiters, let's say, why they are related to sales. First of all, because in our business, most of our agencies, Ukrainian Drupal agencies, they're in business of external development partnership, or the more relevant term here would be outsourcing and staff augmentation or outstaffing. That's why what really matters is the resources. And recruiters, together with HRs, they ensure the resources. And if we have the lack of those resources, we cannot sell those resources to the clients. Additionally, what also recruiters do, they sell the company, the brand of the company, to the potential candidates, and so on. That's why I want to ask you the question, do we have here those positions that think that they have no clue about sales, they're not relevant to sales at all, and they have no responsibilities that are related to sales? Do we have those people here? Or I insured everybody? Or you just haven't understand the idea? Okay, let's move on. You know what? Unfortunately, most of the businesses in our sphere, I'm going to tell about external development partnership. Let's better name it external development partnership rather than outsourcing, because I think based on your own experience, you may understand that outsourcing is not the best word when you communicate with the potential client to present your services, right? That's why let's use external development partnership. So most of the businesses in Ukraine, in Eastern Europe, they do the same. They offer like development services to their potential clients. But those businesses, those companies that don't want to be the same, they should do something, right? And doing something is unique selling point. How to be different with other companies, even in our Drupal community. First of all, the easiest way, we name it internally lowest hanging fruit, is to identify potential clients with the technology match. For instance, if you're in company, you are like fully in charge in the Drupal development, it's quite easy to contact the potential client who's based, let's say, in the Netherlands. It's agency who also does Drupal, because at the very first stage you'll be at the same page with those clients. You don't need to actually sell Drupal because they know what is Drupal, you also know what is Drupal. As soon as they have the need, they just let you know, and then of course you should show your efficiency, your expertise, but it's the easiest way. One more options, for instance, to choose the domain expertise. For instance, let's consider healthcare. When you have the pool of internal resources, but they mismatch in the technology, somebody has PHP skill set, somebody Python, JS, which is really topical these days. But the end clients, they have no clue about the technical solutions. They just need the end result. That's why you choose the domain expertise, for instance, healthcare. And at the very first stage, when you communicate with this potential client, you just show the previous result of the relevant of the same projects to ensure your efficiency. And those clients, they have no idea about Drupal, about Joomla, I'm sorry, about Joomla, I know that Joomla is not the best sample, about Magento, WordPress, and so on. That's why two main options how it works with us, either technical expertise or domain expertise. Let's move on. Oh, it's already worked. But still, I don't want to say that sales, it's the most important process in business, in IT business or in business in general. Yes, sales is the main engine for the company growth. But what really matters is the balance and synchronization between all the processes in your company. What are the main processes that we have in like general IT business? We have top management, which contains of CXO people, right? CEO, COO, CDO, and some others. Sales and marketing force, HR recruitment, accounting and finance. Development, which is the most topical and valuable resource that we have, and operations, it's related to project managers, let's say. Let me tell you a bit more about my sales efforts. So I base these statistics because based on my personal sales efforts, and for those people who are not in sales, as the majority of the audience, I'd like to share a bit more with you how it's complicated, how it's really complicated to bring brand new client to extend your existing clientele. For instance, how it works. At the very first stage, the company should identify the sales strategy for the business, not just like contact sporadic potential candidates that might like your Facebook or even LinkedIn profile, because you might think that your services might be valuable for them. You should build this strategy. The best option would be in written form to build the proactive approach and to guarantee the prolonged vision of the growth of your sales of efforts and the company growth in general. After that, you have the team of researchers, which is the part of the sales team, and they start the research phase itself. What includes in this research phase, based on our own experience? Obviously, we use CRM system. I don't know if anybody in our, in 2018, they don't know what is CRM, or at least they don't use CRM, they use spreadsheets. We use CRM. And to predict your question, what CRM do we use recently? We've switched from Zoho CRM to HubSpot CRM. Why we use CRM? Because CRM really helps to automate your routine processes, like through writing the same messages to a whole bunch of potential clients. It's better to do by machines and spend your time, invest your time to the warm clients. So during research phase, we add first last name, we add the corporate email of the appropriate person, LinkedIn profile, and this is like the must-have requirements. Additionally, we can also add Twitter or Drupal org profile, but without those peculiarities, those issues that I just mentioned, I won't contact the clients. I can't imagine those sales representatives who contact the clients when they even don't know the client name, when they don't know about company anything, and they try to drop an email with "we do this" to the company's general corporate profile, like info@xyz.com. It's not about us. It usually takes around up to 2 weeks. After that, it begins the most complicated phase and the most boring phase, really, called iteration. In average, it takes around 23 inputs to receive some sort of feedback from the potential client. What is it? We have like a list of reach outs. Reach outs, it's messages, but it's a sales term. We also have cold calling, cold emailing, some iterations via, it could be LinkedIn, it could be some social networks. And in general, to receive the feedback from the potential clients, it takes us 23 iterations, which is equal to 3 months duration. After that, as soon as we have the feedback, positive feedback from the potential client, we arrange the call, which we name introductory call. During this call, the clients, they share like more information from their own perspective regarding their company. We'll do the same from our side. And after that, in most cases, they don't have, the potential clients, they don't have the real need to start the cooperation with us. That's why, what should we do from our side? We should build and form this need, which we should show to the client that this is your current status and how it could work with us. For instance, how it works in practice. We have the call with potential client. He has Drupal agency in the Netherlands. I really like Netherlands. And he says he's in the comfort zone, right? He's the real human being. He has strong Drupal team internally. And sporadically, he should decline the request from the clients, either because he has the lack of internal Drupal resources or because this project is not interesting for him. But he also loses this revenue, this potential revenue. And we need to share that you might earn this margin, this revenue, rather than declining the request from your potential clients using our resources. This is the forming of the need. And after that, we have like the RFP, request for proposal, request for building something real, the project, or providing the developers in 3 months. So you can count, in average, it's 6+ months to close one potential client. One more topical thing is that in our company, we have separation between new clients and existing clients. The new clients is the main duty of sales department, and existing clients, it's related to the account department. Why it's efficient and why it really works for us? Because me as a sales guy, I don't really check like performance of the developers or read a lot about the RFP requirements for the project. I'd better spend some time with bringing brand new clients. And we have account managers who really like to do all these things that I've just described, and they are more efficient in these duties. Ultimately, it helps us to simultaneously extend our existing clientele with the existing clientele at the same time bringing brand new clients. Let's move on. What are the failures that could be brought with non-sales departments? Let's get back to those departments that I've just shared, and I'll give you some indicators. First of all, HR and recruitment. As I've already shared, HRs, recruiters, they bring the resources, the biggest value that we can sell to our potential clients. And if we promise the client that we'll have 3 more senior Drupal developers in 2 months, and after that we get back with the client and tell, unfortunately, all of our developers, they're busy. It's our fault because we haven't checked and promised to the client, and it's the fault of the recruiters. if to talk about developers, for instance, what is the main failure is the lack of professionalism or lack of communication. This is what we actually discuss in more details right now. The main topic is client orientation. Do we have any ideas what is client orientation? This is quite topical. Everybody's telling about client orientation, but what is really client orientation? Do you have any ideas? Client and orientation. Everybody understand what is client, right? To solve client's problem. Okay, great idea. Can you repeat? Absolutely, to make client happy. You can just read it quickly. So what Google says regarding client orientation, it's a group of targeted and systematic actions of the business, of the company, with the main goal surpassing the customer's expectations and making them happy. You're totally right. And I underscored expectations, because expectation, I think, it's the most complicated word we have in this statement. Let me explain why. First of all, because expectations, they are deeper and broader than requirements that clients obviously share with us, and we can check it on the regular basis. Expectations are your client's vision of future state or action, usually unstated, but it's so crucial to your success. That's why you should do your best to form and figure out the client's expectations. Let's move on. How to figure out, how to identify the client's expectation. First of all, when you have the introductory call with the client, you can just ask pretty basic question. Have you had any previous experience working with the companies on the same model? And if they had, it's so valuable information for you, and you can detect and you can prevent all the failures that was done by your competitors, the previous company, by sharing this information on the client. Second, you should ask as many questions as you can. Even if those questions are obvious, even if you think they might be stupid, feel free to ask them especially during the very first stages, because later you'll be responsible for non-answered questions for you. And third point, it's pretty straightforward. You should involve professionals to the iteration with the client, because I think like the main idea for Eastern European developers is that they're really good. They have strong technical background because of the post-Soviet strong technical education. They have strong English and strong Drupal developer from Eastern Ukraine. It goes by default. What really matters is the level of communication and the level of management. By the way, I forgot to mention, when I've been several months ago in DrupalCon Nashville in April, I was really surprised about the positive feedback of the general overview of Ukrainian Drupal developers. So everybody say, we know that you are great, but they ask not only about the skill set of the developers. The potential clients, they expect from Ukrainian companies the level of management and the level of communication. What are the client orientation principles? Professionalism, as I've already described. Proactivity. Proactivity, it means to be solution-oriented. We have client orientation and solution-oriented. When you have enough level of skill set, not only to listen to the potential client or existing client, but also to provide your vision, your solution based on your experience on the issues that client has shared with you. Flexibility. What do we mean with flexibility? Flexibility, as a sales guy, the first thing I think about flexibility is flexible rates. When the clients say your rates are too high, which is one of the top objections in the sales world, you might say, okay, we'll give you 50% discount. But it doesn't work, because if you haven't shared the value you might bring to your client's business enough, he won't pay you nothing. But if the client really understands that those services, those products that you're gonna deliver to his or her business, they would bring the benefits to the client's business. In this case, those clients, they will pay you those rates that you really want. And the last point is transparency. At the same time, it's communication. Let's discuss communication in more details. How do you think why communication really matters? Why it really matters in our industry, especially when we talk about the remote cooperation, when we have the clients in Vancouver, for instance, and we're sitting in Kharkiv, Kiev, Lutsk, Lviv, whatever. How do you think why communication really matters? Okay, it helps to avoid miscommunication, and it really helps to ensure that all the risk that you've taken, you've figured it out at the very beginning. What are the other ideas about communication? Why it really matters? Go ahead.
I would say that you have to be on the same page because every company has a different workflow.
Yeah.
And you just have to say that, for example, we work like this and they work like that, and you have to agree on which way you should deliver and how to communicate and so on.
Absolutely.
Be on the same page.
This is the main idea. And this is the main feature, one of the main features, that differentiate Eastern Europe as the development destination compared to our lovely Asian mates, right? Communication, because our level of communication, our cultural proximity, it's quite the same as we have on the Western Europe or even in North America. Right now, I want to share with you like the actual involvement of communication based on the most common and different types of engagement model. First of all, the most common and the best option for the client that doesn't want to make the risk is fixed costs. Who doesn't know what is fixed cost engagement model? Everybody understand what is it? Really? Don't you know what is fixed cost project, or you just help me to work with audience? So briefly, fixed cost is when all the risks goes on the vendor, on the subcontractor, on our side, not on the client side, and we're responsible for the scope of work, for the budget agreed, and for the deadline. Who is involved in the iteration with the client from our side? Usually it's sales or account in our case, and project managers. In most cases, we don't admit any teammates, any developers to communicate with the client because there is no need at all. Communication level. At the very first stage, when you're gathering requirements, we have 10 minutes left, thank you. When we gather requirements, we should do our best to gather as many requirements as we can. Why? Because when we sign the contract, we are responsible for all those features, all those requirements we've discussed with the client. When we've done with the bureaucracy, we sign in the docs, we start the development, and during the development process, the communication with the client is not as high as during the initial stage, and this is not really good. At 24Soft, we like the client to be the active watchers, no matter what the engagement model is. Even during the fixed cost, we'd like the client to be added to our time tracking system, to have like weekly feedbacks, weekly status calls with the clients, because we really care about our clients and about their expectations and about the ultimate result. And during the delivery stage, it really depends on the previous feedback, because sometimes even during the fixed price, if we had miscommunication with the client, delivery can be postponed, and the initial timeline and deadline we agreed could be also postponed. What are the main expectations from the client? It's to deliver the project on time with the agreed budget. And if to talk about Timezone, one more objections, really topical, that clients ask me, Timezone really doesn't matter, doesn't influence with the fixed price. Time and materials. sales account, project managers, and sometimes still leads. Communication, initially it's middle, development really high, and delivery, it's constant development process, and delivery usually goes by sprints. What are the expectations? Client, they expect some consultancy from our side with the balance between the project business goals and budget. In this case, time zone really matters. And dedicated team, who knows what is dedicated team or staff augmentation? Everybody understand, right? When we provide dedicated developers and they become like the part of the client's team. Who usually involved? Sales account, team lead, and the team itself. It's the best option to show to the developer the value of the sales skill set, because the developers, they communicate directly with the clients in those cases. Communication level, all the stages really high. Client and team lead, direct communication, as I just shared. And expectations is to compensate the lack of the in-house team with our resources. Time zone, really crucial. But how to solve time zone issues in those type of engagements? It really matters of communication and management. Because sometimes it's even enough 1 hour of match, as Ukraine has with specific time, when we have 7 p.m., it's 9 a.m. in Vancouver, let's say. It's enough 1 hour of match to have daily stand-up meeting to discuss the task that we've done and what we should do in future. And some takeaways. So what are the most valuable inputs, outputs you should take away after this presentation? Sales are everywhere, and if you think that you don't need to read sales-related books are not quite topical, at least watch YouTube videos related to sales. If you think that sales is nothing about you, this is not true. Expect what client expects from you, because it's the matter of expectations, and if you haven't done what client expects, he won't get back to you in the future, right? And transparent communication, because communication really matters. To avoid miscommunication, you should build constant improvements on your communication with the client. And I think this is pretty it. Yeah, I hope you really enjoyed this presentation and it was valuable a bit for you. Please do not hesitate to contact me by these contact details if you have additional questions, or if we have 5 more minutes for questions, go ahead. Let's discuss sales and client orientation in more details. Do we have any questions? Or everything is understandable, or just nothing? Any questions? Есть какие-то вопросы, я спросил. Наверное, потому что у нас здесь мало продажников, и все подумали, ну окей, да, понятно. Спасибо. Спасибо. Thank you very much. Enjoy the last session and after party. Thank you. Да. Спасибо большое. Thank you for your assistance. Сертификатом. Все, я устал. Спасибо.